Okay, assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome to today's session. This is our lecture 5 on entrepreneurship. And in this lecture, we'll be discussing business mission and strategy, and we'll also be looking into some very important terminologies that are being used in entrepreneurship. So please buckle up yourself for today's lecture. Okay, so let's see what is our today's learning objectives. We'll try to learn how to defining mission statement, and we'll be defining capabilities of a business. Then we'll be designing a mission statement, impact of mission statement, and the key terminologies that are being used in entrepreneurship. And at the last, we will also be getting some lessons from famous entrepreneurs, and there is a video on Al-Marai that we'll be discussing. Okay, so what is mission statement and why it's important for businesses? It's basically a brief statement that summarizes how and where a firm will compete. So that's why it's very important for the businesses to understand and define their mission statement in a proper manner. The better a mission statement is, it's going to give you huge advantages in shape of your competition, defining the market, So it is known as company's mission, vision, overall strategy, goals, simple rules, and statement of the purpose. Okay, let me ask you, if we're just trying to define our businesses, let's take the example of the cars. So do you think all the car companies, they must have the same kind of mission statement? All in the car industries, we have Toyota, and then we have, just trying to give you, say, BMW. It's easy to write, that's why I'm just trying to. So do you think they will have the same mission statement? The customers are the one they buy cars, but the nature of the customer is going to be different for both of them, yes? The customers will have different characteristics. So the point is, in the car industry, in the vehicles, even though you are in the same business, but it is important to define your mission, which is your going to be a target market. So must be concise and understood by everyone. So mission statement is first of all, it will help you to understand your business, which market segment you are going to target, what are your customers, and how you're going to fulfill their needs. So first you have a mission statement will give you a clarity about your business. So it's good for the businesses themselves. Then it keeps the focus of new businesses on activities that offer competitive advantage. So if you'll be offering Toyota, then you will be competing with Honda, Kia, okay? So, but if you are in market which is BMW, you will be competing with Ferrari, Lamborghini, So that's why it's important for us to have a clear understanding that what is the core essence of our business, why we are in the business. And then based on that, we will define our capabilities, like resources that combine to allow a firm to do things better than its competitor. So we need to take in a business, what are our capabilities and what are core capabilities that other businesses can't do, can't compete with us. So these are the key aspects to success of a firm. Resources of the firms are constraints. So in economics, we must have studied resources are scarce. So there are always limited resources. So the businesses have to utilize these resources in the most effective manner. So new businesses should focus on the resources on areas with the potential to maximize its success. So that's why, as I told you, if you're just trying to take just this simple example of Toyota versus BMW. Okay, so imagine if and this is this buying power of the customers. So if Toyota want to go and try to offer the car to high-end customers and then stay in trying to retain its current market, so it's going to be very difficult for us to compete into different sectors. Yes, if you give me an example, like Toyota has offered Lexus. Okay, quite recently they are offering Lexus. Okay, that is to compete with the luxury brands. But it is like the Lexus brand is totally different than their Toyota. And it's important for the businesses to understand which markets they are offering. Okay, so how we can design a mission statement? Try to keep it as short as possible. Keep it simple, make it applicable, be specific, and establish measurable goals. So it should be a one statement. And it should be very simple, that will define the nature of your business, that will define what you want to achieve and what is possible and what is not doable. Can I ask you to do one exercise? So can you please go and search a mission statement of some businesses and just copy and paste below? Because all the businesses, they have a mission statement. And I would like you to give me samples. Can you please do this? Students, are you following me? Yeah. Some examples of the mission statements. Apple's mission statement is to bring the best user experience to customers through innovative hardware, software, and services. IKEA, the mission statement is to offer a wide range of well-designed, functional home furnitures for your furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible can afford it. So it's how very simple. Like IKEA has defined its market. So basically, they will just try to offer furniture on a very reasonable price. Okay. Starbucks' mission statement is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. Patagonia, we are in business to save our home planet. And Microsoft's mission statement is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. So if you will just try to look at from the characteristics of the mission statement we have just discussed about, these big giants, they have got like a very simple mission statement that defines the core purpose of the businesses. Okay. In the meanwhile, did you find some other examples? Okay, we can move on to the next. Okay, why mission statements are important and what impact they can have. First of all, they can have a very sound effect on the advertising. It will define us where do different groups of potential customers get their news and what endorsements to consider. So when you'll define your core mission statement, then you're defining your customers base, and your customer base is going to be defined, and then it's what you'll be following throughout the advertisement. Like coming back here, see IKEA's They are just trying to provide products and services that everybody can, low prices that every person can afford. So basically, in their advertisement, they're going to show general normal consumers. Similarly, Microsoft, they are to go and empower every person on the organization. So this can tell us the reach they would like to have to the people. They can go and sell their products and services. So it's very beneficial if we have this mission statement. It gives us direction in the advertisement. It gives us like which locations we are going to serve. It differs significantly based on the mission. So you can see the Microsoft, they're just trying to go throughout the globe. Okay, and then we say, if you take the example of the IKEA, they just want to go to the lower half class. They cannot afford highly expensive furniture. So staffing varies by the size, style, sophistication, and approaches. So we can think of kind of business, and we'll be having staff, and what should be the nature of it, and what should be the products and services. Okay, now coming to the important terminologies. Students, I would like you to make yourself familiarize with these terminologies because they are important and they are being repeatedly used in entrepreneurial world nowadays. So important entrepreneurial terminologies that you'll be more oftenly listening to them if you are watching, the Shark Tank or some other Dragon's Den or I don't know, any other new entrepreneurial programs. You'll be more oftenly be listening to these terminologies. So what is an entrepreneur? As we discussed in the very first lecture, it's a person who organizes, operates, and assumes the risk for a business venture. So this is what we are already familiar with. But who is an entrepreneur? He or she is someone who takes an entrepreneurial-like ventures within a large corporate environment. So if you are trying to innovate something within an organization, and the organization allows you to go and experiment, so you are called an entrepreneur. Okay, entrepreneur. Then what is business incubator? Which is most of the time you must be hearing about incubation. So it basically provides a workspace, coaching, and support services to entrepreneurs and early stage businesses. So there are many universities, they have business incubations. Like at King Faisal University, we have CODE. Okay, so this is a center of developing entrepreneurs in different universities and different, private sectors and the government sector. They provide incubations for entrepreneurs. They basically incubator are the terms that we have got from the incubations, where you put some small chicken eggs and you get the chickens, and then you keep them alive so that they can get up on their own feet. Similarly, these incubators, which are business incubators, they try to provide an environment for budding entrepreneurs, the students or young entrepreneurs, that they have got business ideas, so they should get a right kind of a workplace. Sometimes they struggle to get a workplace, then coaching and mentoring. Silicon Valley is a very unique example that we need to be looking from the business incubator purposes, that have grown to the level that they are producing the world-renowned entrepreneurs in the world. Okay, so these are the terminologies important for entrepreneurs. They should learn and familiarize themselves with, and they should understand the difference between copyright and patent. Why it is important for them to register copyrights and patents? Just to protect their new inventions or their intellectual property. So this copyright is basically a form of protection for publishing and unpublished literary and scientific or artistic work that have been fixed in a tangible or material form. Okay, for example, you have written a storybook, or you have some lyrics or something like, so you can, this is your intellectual property, you want to get it copyright so that no other people cannot copy it. Similarly, there is like patents. They are basically, again, property rights. They are guaranteed to the investors to exclude others from making, using, and offering for sale or selling the invention for a limited time in exchange for public disclosure of the invention when the patent is guaranteed. So anybody who just come up with a new, unique way of business practice or innovation, you can go and get it registered. So until you are registered, you are protected. These terminologies are very important for budding entrepreneurs, because sometimes the big giants can understand your invention and they can just try to copy it, and you would lose your whole intellectual rights. So when the businesses or entrepreneurs, they understand that they have got an idea which is so valuable, they should go and get it copyright or patent. Business valuation is an estimation of the worth of the business entity and its assets. So business valuation have also given a value for the goodwill. Normally, if you try to give a value to a business, you basically give it on the basis of the assets that the business have. Goodwill is also considered one of the important aspects in valuation. Why do we need the business valuation for the entrepreneurs? Sometimes they will just, if you have seen, Dragon's Den, you'll see that businesses who are entrepreneurs, they will just want to go for angel investors or investment firms or venture capitalists, so they have to understand the real value of their business. And you must have noticed that many times when these entrepreneurs, they give a very wrong value to the sharks sitting next to them, they just have a go on them, they just humiliate them, because you have to make a very rational valuation of your business, and you must have a very real understanding of the product's sales and then the future anticipation of the business as well, the growth perspective, So business valuation is very important. Okay, so there's a small difference between copyright and patents, and then there's a trademark. Trademark is basically a form of legal protection for words, names, symbols, sounds, or colors that distinguish goods and services. Trademark. So basically, Coca-Cola, they have trademark like Coke. They've also trademarked Coke as well. Okay. So they have just tried to register all possible words, and then Nike. This is the sign for the Nike, so they can register the trademark. So anything that can make you resemble the business, they just make sure that other people don't try to copy it. I think recently there was in Pakistan there was a case in which Starbucks they sued a new venture setup that was a Starbucks, Starbucks BU. Okay, something like this. The shape of the person was also somehow similar to Starbucks, but the verdict was given in favor of the Starbucks. So his name was Starbucks, not Starbucks. So definitely he must have been using a picture which was different than the trademark was registered by the Starbucks, and the name was significantly different what they had registered. That's why they could not get this Starbucks out of the business. Okay, so acquisition is more commonly used with the mergers and acquisition. We know that there can be some businesses, they can take ownership of another businesses, they can purchase them, buy them. So frequently it is a conjunction we use mergers and acquisition. So sometime in the Dragon's Den or in the sharks, you will see that the sharks are very much eager to go and eat the new entrepreneurial business startups. If I can recall properly, KFC was like when it was acquired. It was acquired for, let's say, some millions, and then in a few time, KFC was acquired on a very minimum price, like in 1970s. Let me try to see, like Sandler's, he was the first owner of the KFC, and how much he was given, because he was given some million, and then later on, within a year, the KFC was grown up to a multi-million kind of a company. Then most of the entrepreneurs, they start as a sole proprietor. It's like there's a business owned by and operated by one person, and later on they go into partnerships. There are two or more individuals who operate on a continuous business for profit. A partnership is legally regarded as a group of individuals rather than a single entity, and each of the partners files their own shares of the profits on their individual tax return. So each partner has to file their taxes separately. These are common terminologies. You must be very much familiar with them. Okay, so there is another option in which we get the business register, that is called LLCs, limited liability partners, companies. And these are a legal entity that is not taxable itself and distributes the profits to its owners, but shields personal assets from that business debts like a corporation. So there's a small difference between sole proprietor and partnership. As sole proprietor and partnerships, your liability is unlimited. Like if you have to pay to someone and somehow your business has default and it has become bankrupt, but then you'll have to sell your own personal assets and to give the individuals from which you to borrow the loan. So that's why it is your personal liability. In this case, in LLC, then it is not your responsibility. It's a legal entity, and it shields your personal assets. So if the company goes, nobody is going to come to your house and you try to sell your house or something like that, you know. So that's why it's ideally better to have a limited liability company as compared to sole proprietor or partnerships. But again, that has their own advantages and this has their own limitations. Then limited partnership is a business arrangement in which the day-to-day operations are controlled by one or more general partners and funded by limited or silent partners who are legally responsible for losses based on the amount of their investment. So what you call him a silent partner, like a partner who might not be actively engaged in the business's operation, and probably he will be or she will be staying at home just injecting the investment and waiting for the profits. There are two other options for the businesses. One is the strategic alliance and one is joint venture. A strategic alliance is an ongoing relationship between two businesses in which they combine their efforts for a specific purpose. So we had an example of the Starbucks, and there was a music company, I just forgot its name. So the music company was developing music for Starbucks, and while it kept its own identity separate from Starbucks. So this is just a joint collaboration. Compared to that, joint venture is basically a legal entity that creates two or more businesses joining together to conduct specific business enterprise with both parties sharing profits and losses. It differs from strategic alliance that there is a specific legal entity. So in the joint venture, they make a new entity. Both the businesses inject financial resources. So in the joint venture, they make a new entity. Both the businesses inject financial resources, and they might come up with a new name. Okay, and but in the strategic alliance, they just collaborate with each other. They might share the resources, they might share the intellectual property. So this is slightly different from this joint venture. Okay, who is angel investor? Angel investors are basically individuals who back emerging entrepreneurial ventures, usually as a bridge to get from the self-funded stage to a level of business that would both need to attract venture capitalists. Okay, so angel investors are small level investors, and in lectures we will probably in the previous lectures we have already discussed like what are the sources of capital we can gain, or how we can generate financial resources. So initially you will try to get resources by yourself, then you'll go for your families and then friends, and then the angel investors, they just probably will be small level investors, say from 50,000 to 2 million. And then they will help you to attract big venture capitalists. They can take your business to the next level, but it has to be understood like you know your business valuation and you know like how much you might be suffering when you'll be giving away the shares of your business. Appraisals are basically a formal estimate of the value of something on the open market. It also describes how the estimation and conclusion of the value was made. So appraisals are basically trying to understand the value of the open market about the products and services. So sometimes when you're trying to do your valuation, you might go to some third party and they can do your appraisals. Then there's a barter, which is direct exchange of merchandise and services between businesses. So many businesses, they can do the barter. And in the early ages, we used to see the barter in which we were exchanging things against things, or the services against services, and services against things, other than just the transfer of the money. Okay, so in the previous lecture slide, we discussed about venture capitalist, and now we'll be looking at what is venture capitalist. It's a form of financing for a company in which the business gives up a partial ownership and control the business in exchange for the capital over the limited time frame, usually 3 to 5 years. So here they will just try to take the shares. So investments typically range from 500,000 to 5 million, and although there are occasionally venture capitalist investments for as low as 50 and to 20 million. So they are a form of financing as we already talked about, in which businesses gives a partial ownership. So they take the shares and control the businesses in exchange for capital. So there are two things about the venture capitalists. One is they will take away some of the shares from the and then they will also take the control of the business. Okay. Mergers, these are a joining together of two previously separated corporations. A true merger in the legal sense occurs when both businesses dissolve and move their assets and liability into a newly created entity. So merger is basically when two businesses are joining hand and they become a totally new kind of a business. Outsourcing is an option in entrepreneurship in which you'll be purchasing standard operation services from another business. Like you're not doing that thing, but you are just purchasing that particular raw material or the imports or the services from other company. Outsourcing services typically include accounting, payroll, IT, advertising, and so on. So you don't try to develop it in-house, you just outsource. Like there can be a software house, they developed a very state-of-the-art accounting, and you're using that software, you're just paying them instead of you keeping your own or developing your own software. Same for the payroll and IT services. Okay, so after discussing the terminologies which are being more frequently used in the entrepreneurship, we are coming to the lessons from the famous entrepreneurs. And today's entrepreneur is Sir Richard Branson. He's called Sir in UK. Okay, so Richard Branson is a very popular serial entrepreneur in the United Kingdom. Basically, Sir Richard Branson is the founder of a Virgin Group, which comprises of more than 400 companies worldwide. He is ranked 8th on the wealthiest British billionaires. According to him, business opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming. So what he is telling us, that probably you might be thinking, oh gosh, we have been given, we are so late to come to this world, and we have missed the big opportunities. No, there are new future is also opening us lots of different kind of opportunities. So one should be keeping his or her eyes open and look around, and there are huge opportunities for all of us from the entrepreneurship perspective. So he says, if there's only one lesson you want to learn from Richard Branson, it's like enjoy what you do. And you'll see Richard Branson going around the world on a hot balloon, and then jumping into the waters and going on the moon and things like that. So Richard Branson is someone who is always in the happening. He's always in the news, and he loves what he does. Okay, today's video documentary was on the Almarai. So we are very familiar. Anybody who is in Kingdom, they cannot ignore the Almarai. It has got a huge impact. So in this video, we're talking about Prince Sultan bin Mohammed bin Saud, who is the grandson of the founder of the Saudi Arabia, His Excellency King Abdul Aziz. So what happened, the things that have made him to think about Al-Marai, that was during the 1970s when there was an oil crisis. So the oil crisis had made Prince Sultan to think like the Europe will stop selling them these food items. So what should we do? So what he has done is like he has developed a setup which is called Al-Marai in 1977 with some Irish companies that were in this farming set up. So they hug together and they have just, I'm just trying to get some pictures so that we can show over there. Okay, here is the picture. I can just copy the picture and paste it here because this page is not looking good. Okay, I'm going to copy it. So what happened is that now this MRI company has become $15.6 billion of a company. It is net profit is like $547 million annually. They have around 195,000 cows. Their product range is more than 622, and they are serving like on 220,000 stores around the world. And they are present in 7 countries in the world. And their customers are around 42 millions. And the prince's wealth to date is like 2.8 billion, and his share in the MRI is 28%, even though he has got retired from his CEO positions, but still he is in the business and helping them to understand. Okay, so from this case study, we can learn like how a crisis situation can help you to think creatively, and then if you're trying to find a solution for that crisis situation, you can end up into developing such a massive entrepreneurial setup, which has got like 15.6 billion of worth right now. Okay, so there are some real questions for you. You should ponder upon these questions. What is the value of a mission statement for a new organization? Why it is important for you to understand the mission statement? Okay, by now you should be able to understand this. How should a mission statement guide actions of the employees? How this can be linked? What are the characteristics of a good mission statements? We have already discussed in the slides. What are the important terminologies that are being used in entrepreneurship? We have also touched them, so hopefully you are familiar with them. Okay, these are the references from where we have developed our today's lecture, and this is it. We are about to finish our today's lecture. So if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask. Or if you have any comment, please type your comment so that I can address your queries or questions. Okay, so we can stop the recording.